All right, so here we are, putting this in. Got the headers on both sides. If you saw in the other video, I said the RCI headers present more of a challenge because the BBK ones, you can put them on when it's outside the engine compartment and plug it in. Well, these, you got to get the engine in, kind of back a little bit, get it angled, and then you can clear the proportioning valve and all that stuff. So the driver's side's on. I just put a bolt in the front and the back just to kind of hold it in place. Didn't tighten them down, just got it run in a couple of threads. And on these gaskets, the Felpro 1415s, got a notch at each end. So then you can take the valve cover off, and then you have, your headers on just kind of a little loose, and then you can drop these in. Because these are used, I'm going to put a little skim of orange RTV on them around the ports, and then like I said, pull the valve cover and then drop them in, tighten them up, starting here in the middle, going outward out to the ends, and then so you get a nice even press on the head so you don't have any leaks. At least that's the plan. So I think that's it. Like I said, I got the starter in, got that wires hooked up for it, and then just pushing on the rest of the stuff, get the headers bolted up good. Then I can slide the steering rack back in place and hook up the shaft from the steering, or the steering column, to the steering rack. That's another thing with the RCI headers, you got to take that stuff off. BBK headers are lighter, are heavier, but they're easier to install. These are like 5 or 6 pounds lighter per side, if I remember right, if not more, and they sound way better because they got the radio collector. All right, that's it. On to the next stuff. Later. What's up, fellas? You can tell it's running. I don't have a chip in it right now. I got it started Sunday, and I forgot to put a chip in. I mean, I had my old chip. It was the one for the 302 with the 30-pound injector, so I got it running. It ran like ass. I was like, man, what's going on? Then I remembered I didn't have the right chip in it, so it runs. Sounds good. Lifters make a bunch of noise, so I'll probably have to run through those again. Today's Tuesday, 21st of May. We got dyno Saturday, so I still have to bleed the brakes. I set aside a bunch of other stuff I was gonna do because I just ain't got time. But it's running. I gotta set the timing, put some water in it. I just had it running real briefly, so put some water in it. Hopefully nothing leaks. Little concerned about that timing cover. It's kind of old, but and then I got to put the turnbuckle on here. I borrowed Vincent's alternator bracket. I gave him my old one. This is from Aaron at I forget what his name is, but I'll put a link up to his stuff. He makes some pretty decent stuff for alternators. You can put it on a driver's side, passenger side, low mount, high mount, however you want to do it. It's definitely lighter than the factory one. So I'm glad it runs. Nothing fell out so far. No internal parts tried to be external. So I got a lot to do. Gotta get at it. So all right, appreciate y'all. Later. What's up, fellas? So out here wrapping this up, kind of hooking up the DC controller. Got some fluid in it. Just had to take the shroud off to put the coolant temp sensor in there for the controller. And when I started it, I noticed the check engine light was on. I didn't run codes, But I remembered when I put this on to the coolant temp sensor, this one went onto the connector, the sensor, and this one wouldn't. And I kept thinking, man, I think the green one has one of the green wire goes to here because it's like coolant, you know, antifreeze is green. So it just kind of was always a little thing I used to remind myself. So then I checked, and I grabbed a air charge temperature sensor and the other coolant temp sensor and compared them. And sure enough, the pins in here are rotated 90 degrees from the one in here. So that is an air charge temperature sensor. So somehow I managed to put one of those in there. I don't know. It's just one of them things like, was it one of them times I come out here, didn't feel like working on, but made myself do it even though I was tired or whatever. I don't know. But so now I got to take that out and replace that and put the coolant temp sensor in. It's on like that. I just put it on there. It's like, good Lord, dude. Sometimes my brain don't brain so good. But on a good note, the lifters are calmed down a little bit. Let me show you. It actually idles better. Maybe it'll idle better without the air charge temperature sensor in the wrong spot. Got all this stuff hooked up. I'm taking them seats out, giving them back to Pirate. I don't like them. They got they're just like, I feel like a kid in them because they're like so big. That's just base tuning, or of course I ain't done any tuning. Oh, still got to check engine light. Now let's pull the codes and see what's going on. But I got 50 pounds of idle, 50 pounds of oil pressure at idle. And it is charging. Getting the old barbecue grill paint cooked in good. I'll have to run a wrench on the header bolts, tighten them all up good, make sure they're tight, make sure I ain't got no leaks. It looks like there's a couple drops of something down here. That would be fantastic. Right there, probably from the bypass hose, because this is, nope, there, from that one. Alright, no biggie. This thing is like, this is a truck thermostat housing, and the outlet here is 1/2 inch, and this has 1/2 inch, but the old one is a 3/4, even though the truck takes the same coolant temperature or bypass hose as this one. So I had to really reef down on the hose clamp. But anyway, that's about it. It's running. Hope still got things to do before I get up to the dyno on Saturday. All right, I'll wrap this up and get her put up on the YouTubes. Appreciate y'all, fellas. Later. I know I said I was going to put this on the YouTube, but I had a moment to redeem myself. I wasn't a complete retard after all. So this air charge sensor, you see how the connector, this part is oriented, and the alignment of the pins, that won't stand up. But this is the same way. So this is an air charge, or a coolant temp sensor that I had in a box over there. I got a box with, you know, like 4 or 5 temp sensors, BAP sensors, TPS sensors, just other kinds of sensors. And then this is what's going in there. See how the coolant temp sensor and the air charge, hold on, let me get this demonstration here. See there, oops, the alignment of the pins, how they're 90 degrees out. Yeah, I know I wiggle. So anyway, I grabbed this sensor out of the box. I don't know what it came out of, but it was a new one, and I said, oh, I got all new parts in here, might as well throw that in too, only to find out that the pins are 90 degrees off. So I did put a coolant temp sensor in the coolant temp sensor hole. I did not put an air charge temp sensor in there. So redeem myself. But then again, I forgot to tell you, the first time I fired this up, and I had to like turn the distributor, and I said, man, that thing should not turn it that far, because when you put the distributor in top dead center, the rotor should be pointing just to the inside of your forward bolt back here, and this should be pointing kind of over here in this area. And I was like, man, that thing ain't working right. So I went to verify top dead center. I was using my bumper to this thing, bump it up a little bit, you know, bump it up to top dead center. Had my other finger in the hole, eyeballing it, got it to I could feel pressure pushing on it. I got it up to 0 on the balancer, and then I bumped the thing again accidentally, and I went a little further, and then I pushed my finger off, like it's top dead center is past what was on the thing. Got to looking at the balancer, and there's like a set of timing marks here, then another set here. So I had at some point apparently just decided to put a mark on the 0 on the balancer, not realizing there was other timing marks on there. So I had the wrong set of timing marks marked, and caused me a little bit of frustration, but I eventually figured it out, and now it runs pretty good for considering, you know, it's just like the base tune in there, just loaded all the basic stuff, and it actually runs not terrible. So it can only get better from here, provided all the internal parts stay internal. So now I'm going to finish hooking up the, finish putting this in, and then finish hooking up the fan controller, run the bolts. I'll probably go ahead and run the rocker arms one more time, and then I can put the wheels and tires back on it and get it out of the garage. But that'll probably be tomorrow night. Hoping to get a few miles on it before I got to drive it up to Crestview Saturday and put it on the dyno. I got to floor it at least one time for a little bit just to make sure nothing scatters, so it don't happen on a dyno. I don't want to clean up a mess at Johnny's. All right, that's it for now. We'll get this wrapped up and put on the YouTubes. Appreciate y'all. Later on.